Sorry.
Okay, let's no, stop it right now. Okay, cool. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. We Tech Those back with the gang. Gang, how are you?
Hanging in there, man.
Good.
We're doing good.
Hanging in there?
Good.
That's good. That's good. It's kind of basic, but okay. Hanging in there.
All right.
Okay. Guys, I want to have a conversation about you about something that's recently happened in the YouTubes. Are you familiar with the term red pill?
Loosely.
No.
Like,
No,
Not
loosely.
little
Okay,
bit,
Zach's
yeah.
okay. For those who don't know what red pill is, or the red pill community, as it's called, it's a group of men online who in their own words, let's say, compare stories and notes to a better life, as far as how the world really is. It's a reference to the Matrix movie,
Mhm.
the first one where Morpheus had the red pill and the blue pill. Blue pill, you kind of stay in the Matrix and don't get shown anything. Red pill, he shows you how deep the rabbit hole goes. You get to see the world as it really is. That's where the connection comes from, basically. So these men call themselves that red pill community because they've opened their eyes to how the world, really is, how women really are, type of thing. And there's a guy that is referred to as the godfather of the red pill, or the manosphere is also called. He goes by the name Rollo Tomassi. That is not his real name. A lot of these guys on internet use pseudonyms for the names and stuff like that. But he was actually on the Fresh and Fit podcast, another one of these Manosphere podcasts, uh, debating Sneeko, and Sneeko's another YouTuber, and another YouTuber named Destiny. So we got Destiny, we got Sneeko, and then we have Fresh and Fit, which consists of Myron and Fresh, and then Rollo jumps in. So I want to take you through this conversation. What the discussion is regarding around a tweet that Rollo Tomassi put out. And I'm going to walk you through this conversation and see if you come to the same conclusion I came to or something different. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to start off here. 148.
We should do a round table.
Let's see,
Okay, round table.
If he wants to, yeah.
And he should debate your ass.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's pull up.
Okay. So right here, the blue haired one, that's Destiny. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, right next to him is Sneeko. And then we have Myron to the left, and then Fresh, this dark one over here. That's Fresh. I don't know if you can see his face. So let's go ahead and get started. They're going to start off with referring to this tweet that Rollo Tomassi put out that was a little bit controversial. So we're going to let them start talking about it.
Quick, because this has been a point of contention with Sneeko, a lot of things. And we got it right there. So this was his tweet, right? It goes, and this was from, what, a week ago? About a week ago?
A week ago.
The quickest path to becoming a high-value man. Number one, don't get married. Avoid family crazy.
Okay. Can you guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to immediately get into it.
No. Well, we're going to talk about it. Go through this video through steps. It's a long video, so you're not going to watch all of it, but this is key points I wanted to point out. So here's the first one. This is Rollo Tomassi's tweet that he posted, and I'm just going to read it from the beginning to end, right? It says, the quickest path to becoming a high-value man. Number one, do not get married. Number two, avoid family creation. Number three, vasectomy in your 20s. Number four, lift consistently. Number five, eliminate all sedations. Number six, learn game and networking. Number seven, play to your strengths, build wealth. And number eight, resist easing up on your focus. What do we think about these eight? I mean, what would you call these? Are these tips? Are these,
I guess,
like, what are your thoughts about this?
Maybe.
I would say some are good, some are bad.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like at first I was like, oh, okay. But then the further down the list I got, I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for me it's the beginning of the list.
See, that was my thought too.
It's like
I'm like, okay. Man.
Okay.
It's like pretty much after that I was like,
Right.
Some
I'm like, all right, so he's starting off as a
Is there
clown.
anything on this list of 8? Is there anything on these list of 8 things that kind of stands out to you by any chance?
I
It
think the
sounds like he's.
vasectomy in your 20s.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say it sounds like he's trying to kill off the population.
yeah. He's like number one, kill your family name. You don't need to transfer that down.
You know, that's a very good point you bring up. So yeah, I mean this. Okay, the quickest path to becoming a high value man. I mean, technically, this is like what some kind of guideline, or we are on that kind of mindset, right? Some kind of guideline to how to become a high value man, right? Regardless if we agree with it or not. This is what we perceive to be his idea of what a high value man is, or what how to get there, or the quickest way, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's keep that. So again, these are his words. He's saying that typing it out. This is one reason why I don't use Twitter. I am scared of posting some stupid stuff and getting ridiculed for it. But I'm not saying it's stupid. I'm just saying this is interesting. Okay, so we go from there, right? Okay.
I'll say one thing.
Vasectomy in your 20s, lift consistently, eliminate all sedations, learn game and networking,
Oh, Amanda
place
wants to
your
say one
strengths,
thing.
build wealth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say he's reminding me of Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say
Actually.
that because also Andrew Tate's brother, his name is Tristan. He came out and specifically said, "Do not call me Red Pill," and him and his brother are really tight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like if you called him Red Pill, oh hell no, that's not me. Them weirdos over there. Like as bad as he feels, as bad as you think about Andrew Tate or Tristan Tate, which is basically brothers. They basically agree on almost everything as far as like what they talk about. They think this stuff is crap. So
It sounds like something they would say.
I mean, his own word is like, nah, I'm not with the red pill. I'm not. That's not me. That's what they say, basically. I mean, so it's just something to point out. All right.
Resist easing up on your focus, and it's the quickest path to becoming a high value man. And I know that.
And this is Myron talking, by the way.
You know, Sneeko had some point of contention specifically with number 3, which is get a vasectomy in your 20s.
Can I just ask, why did he need 8 points? Did he like get contracted to write all 8 of these? Because like I see some duplication. So like number 2, avoid family creation. Number 3, vasectomy in your 20s. Couldn't that be like collapsed into 1 point? Did he need 8? Did he feel stupid with like 6 or 7? Or
okay, I mean you're.
That's a good point.
I'm just curious. If there's like a
He's
reason.
clarifying it out. It's just 8 things. I mean, he could have said put them together. I guess
the best person to ask question to is Rollo directly.
That's true.
So we'll do it next week, probably.
I hope so, yeah.
But this list is concise because once again, he's just saying in general, faster way to get to that point.
Yeah.
What is high value man?
Okay, so far he's just saying in general, right? They're kind of agreeing that he's just saying in general how to become a high value man, right? We're good so far.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I think he means what he means in this context is being a guy that's like desirable to women and being attractive to women, so that you'll be I guess a marketable sexual partner.
Well, but that doesn't make sense, right? Like avoid family creation and get a vasectomy.
That's what women want.
Be attractive to men.
Well, no,
like,
no. It's
because
because
women, right?
Again, like I said it before, I'll say it again because you're here. So he gave the instructions to retard proof it, right? Because when you give advice, typically you have to, appeal to the lowest common denominator. So like there's guys out there, right, that could have been, I'm being honest here. There's guys out there that, could have played basketball back in the day, maybe football, whatever. And their career got smashed because they got a girl pregnant and they couldn't pursue what they want to do because they had to be a dad early.
True.
So what he's saying is, okay, this is how you mitigate risk so you could become a higher status guy. We're going to eliminate all the things that could fuck you up. Now, I want to make this very clear for some of y'all because some of you guys don't understand. I'm not saying I advocate for vasectomies or whatever. I don't have one. I've never gotten one. But what I am saying is that given the context of what he's tweeting for this specific situation, it makes sense because he's saying, hey, these are the ways so that you don't fuck yourself up to ensure that you're going to be successful. He's retard proofing it.
But that is
Okay. So Myron's words, this is advice, basically, retard proof advice to become a high value man. Do we agree with that? Disagree with that? Any thoughts so far?
Man, I kind of disagree in general with like a lot of those bullet points because it's like, all right, well, they almost touched on it where like what defines a high value man? Like, is it just monetary wealth or, what is high value? Is it high value to women? Like what women are going to pursue? Because at that point, most women are looking for like somebody to settle down with, like a family type man, and like you can't have a family type man if he can't even have kids. So like I
Mhm.
feel like, you know, you're shooting yourself in the foot by like writing that as one of your bullet points, like vasectomy in your 20s and like don't have a family and stuff. So it's like you're not high value to most women at that point. And then if you're talking about like go ahead. What you got?
No, I was just gonna say I will say this because I get where you're
Yeah.
getting at, but the way Myron explained it with his, I don't even think you're allowed to say retard, but
Yeah, no, that's
I'm pretty
I
sure
was
cancelable.
that works
thinking that
forbidden.
That's
too.
canceled for sure.
I'm
I'm
pretty
gonna
sure that
put that
works
out.
forbidden.
It's cool.
But in his opinion of advice for to lower it down, I'll say it that
Mhm.
in a way, the way he's trying to explain it, it does make sense. Only, and I say that only because if you get a girl pregnant in your early teens or your early 20s, and then let's say it doesn't work out, or let's say you had to sacrifice your careers or your career goals, you had a future, now you're having to work 2 day jobs because you have to pay child support, or you have to afford the child, is you do become less valuable, especially if the relationship doesn't work out, because then you go and talk to someone else.
See,
They're gonna see you, oh, dude with a kid. There's that guy over there who doesn't have a kid. I don't have to deal with all that drama, especially in the early 20s. Although, yeah, I don't agree with the vasectomy thing. I think the best way could have been, guys need to be smarter about it. Use protection if you're not ready for that kind of commitment. Don't go in and start raw dogging if you're not ready for the
yeah.
consequences. That's more of what I think is the point trying to get across, but definitely not the vasectomy. I don't know about that,
Yeah.
man.
See, I see your point,
Yeah.
for sure, but like, I think, I think what it is like having a kid, for example, should not be like a point of something that ruins your life. Like, you know, what you mentioned, like, oh, you give up, you know, potential career or something because you got to raise your kid. Like, nah, just like be a better man, continue pursuing your career, but also be a good dad. Like, it's possible to do both. There's plenty of people out there that are millionaires, billionaires, professional athletes, all sorts of stuff, and they have families. And
See, I would agree. I agree with you there. I definitely believe it's achievable,
right.
but a lot of the times you see a lot of these dudes who have had kids very young. They don't go any
That's
further.
because they were bums to begin with, dude. Honestly. Like, I'm sorry, but like
Okay.
if
Okay.
that stops you, you weren't driven enough, man. That's how I feel about it.
But I mean, I think I a little agree with with Rick here. Having a child before you're ready or before you're married, type of thing, can actually hinder you from further bettering your life. So from that standpoint, I mean, maybe there again, I maybe a little bit better with kind of like don't fall into just having kids. Kind of protect yourself a little bit
Hmm.
more. Like, um, they're more so to the point that's like you shouldn't be having kids in your 20s at all. And they actually go on to kind of say more so wait until like you're 40 almost.
Oh no,
Like
Mm.
I don't know about that, man.
another thing with the vasectomy thing is that they had another podcast where they kind of said, "Oh, you can just get a reverse type of thing." I don't know who started that. I mean, it's possible. It is possible to get it
Mm.
reversed, but it gets increasingly unlikely the longer you longer it's been since you've had it done.
Right.
It wasn't. It's not really an operation to be like, okay, I'm just going to cut, like, I'm just going to turn this faucet off and turn it back on in 10, 12 years type of thing. And everyone that they'll tell you, oh no, there's no pain to it. No, no, no. My girlfriend's brother, he had ice on his balls for a week because they were
Damn.
swollen. He couldn't walk straight. He was in pain. He was sitting in bed. No, no, no. I'm not saying that's every case, but there's definitely a chance of you just being in pain. On top of that, the longer you go, again, from having it done, so you be having your 20s, let's say 21, you'll get a vasectomy. Then 35, 40, okay, I'm going to go get it done. It's almost 100% unlikely that's going to
Hmm.
happen. You're going to basically, like Amanda said, you can basically sterilize yourself. So and the chances of having it it's like I think a 70% chance of fixing it like within 10 years. But even then, like let's say all like they even say it. Let's say all the people that they read that tweet did it. 30% of them are sterilized now.
Yeah.
So it's like you're like kind of sterilizing your audience. That is not really good advice. Keep that in mind. This is again his advice on being a high value man, right? So now now up to this point, they're talking about Rollo Tomassi. He's actually in the chat. He's chatting back and forth. He actually comes on the call and actually to like kind of explain himself. Because so far it's been Myron, right? Myron's been explaining for him, which you can't really do. You can't really explain somebody else's point to him. So he come on to explain himself. So let's go ahead and listen to him explain what he meant. All right. All right.
Let's do it, bro.
Let's go ahead and bring Rollo Tomassi on. Shout out to Rollo. Shout out to you.
Can you hear me okay? What up, man?
Yeah.
Pause. This is Rollo Tomassi on the right.
Yeah, he looks high value.
I'm not going to say it.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
As Zach interrupts me, I was not going to say anything about his appearance, but okay. Right. So this is he does not self-proclaimed, but people call him the godfather of the manosphere. He's written books. Well, I know one in particular is called The Rational Male. I haven't read it, but I mean, people talk about it in this kind of space, and they hold him. I know Fresh and Fit do, Myron, and they hold him in high regard, basically. So.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So let me explain a few things here. I wasn't able to do this the last time you guys were talking about this, but so about gosh, is it now 2 weeks ago? I think it was Tuesday of last week. You guys had Brandon Carter on. Is that with Derek Moneyberg? Or was that Monday?
Monday.
Monday. Sorry, let me get my camera back up there. So Monday, you guys were talking to Brandon Carter. One of the things that Brandon was talking about was you got to love money. You got to be on top of your game. And and I love Brandon Carter, by the way. I think he should be a stand-up comedian. I mean, the guy is that funny. He's a great guy, right? But when you guys are on that show and you're talking to him, and he's talking about how he doesn't go to he doesn't go to Publix, doesn't go grocery shopping for himself. He doesn't go do his own laundry. He doesn't have a car. I mean, it's Brickle White, but he doesn't have like some basic stuff because his philosophy in life is that anything that takes him away from his grind, anything that takes him away from anything that would distract him or that would be financially or mathematically not a pragmatic choice for him to make, as far as like if he's spending time going grocery shopping or going and getting food for himself or whatever else. I'm sure he's not getting a meal prep and everything else, but pretty much everything in his life is outsourced, because anything that he would be spending that time himself to go do, he could be losing money doing that at that time. So when I was listening to this and I was thinking about this myself, because I was actually at the same time, I'm like, helping a friend move and all this. And I'm thinking about this. I'm going, you know what? If you want to be a high value man, if you want to get to that apex level as fast as you can, that's it. How is that not the best way to go about it?
Okay. So it's just he's a little long-winded. So far, again, his mind is how to become a high value man, right? That's what he's thinking about. What's the best way to do about it, right? Everybody?
Have you been looking at the comments about him? All those comments, I was dying.
Okay, yeah. If they're as much as they roasted him before and during this, he's definitely getting roasted after this. But let's go ahead and let him explain more.
Okay. So the point of that whole tweet, which was basically a throwaway tweet that everyone started like snowballing into something else. I've got Ben Shapiro coming at me. I got Matt Walsh coming at me. I got Lauren Chen coming at me. I got all these people off of Daily Wire because it was just easy, low-hanging fruit for these guys because they think that that's what the fucking manosphere is all about. And it's not, okay? That was not fucking advice. Everything that is on Twitter is not advice, okay?
Okay. So... From his own words, that was not advice.
Yeah.
He's saying that this was not advice. We're going to let him explain a little bit more.
Was that a joke?
No, it was not necessarily a joke, but it's like, let's just say it's a hypothetical, okay? It's showing you. Now, listen, for just 5 seconds, okay? This is no joke here, because everything that's come out of both of you guys' mouth has been nothing but distraction and misdirection, because it's easy clicks for you. So here's the whole thing. When I'm talking about get a vasectomy, don't be concerned with.
When he's mad, his glasses get uneven on his nose. You see?
Let him finish.
Okay.
I'm really mad about this, bro.
Shall we keep going? Are we just gonna have jokes thrown in here?
Really heated about this.
Is that what I get to? Is that what I get to do it? Okay. So here's the deal. When I'm talking about this, when I'm throwing this out there, why wouldn't you do that? would you not have been more successful, Sneeko, had you not had to go through certain things? If you had a kid right
So
now,
is it advice or not?
you would be playing the game with a handicap. You would be playing the game with your fucking hands tied behind your back.
Okay, so
There are
Rollo,
guys right now who I have a lot of respect for, and I'm sure you have a lot of respect for as well, who all have kids, but you know what they try to do? Try to keep it under wraps.
okay,
Try
so
to make sure nobody knows about kids. Okay.
So it is advice.
So here's okay. First off, this is not advice. Everything that is on my show or is on Twitter is not automatically advice. Now, but here's the thing. You know what you're gonna say, because here's the deal. When I was on whatever podcast I was telling this, I was saying exactly the same thing here, is that everything that comes out of somebody's mouth on Instagram or on Twitter or on a YouTube, there's no way you can't go on there without somebody going, this is what these guys are saying to do. Because if you have this set automatically, that if it comes out of your mouth, it's automatically advice, it can't just be data. It can't just be statistics. Nothing can be just delivered sort of like, here's some data for you to look at. Okay. Nothing can be set. Nothing can be given to you without somebody going, well, the reason why you're telling me this is because you're telling me that this is the best way to live my life. Okay. So when I'm watching Brendan Carter and I'm watching all this going on, and I'm looking at like guys that I know and guys that you know as well. And when these are the guys who are like saying, be on your game, do this, do that. They're the ones that are giving this advice. All I'm doing is saying, hey, look, maybe you should not focus on family. Maybe you should not get married. I mean, I don't know why that's big.
It's maybe advice.
I'm not saying it's advice. What I'm saying is that this is so over the fucking top that everybody wants to take it out of context, which is exactly what you guys have been doing.
So what is it? Can you tell me what that tweet was if it wasn't advice?
It's not advice. What it is it's okay. It's saying that this is the most extreme way to do things. Okay. Here's the quickest path to, if I told you this, look, if I said the quickest way for you to make $1 million,
that sounds like advice,
is to
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Woo! As they bring the tweet up again.
Well, I kind of wanted to see what the wording was too, because I was like, didn't it say how to become a high value man or something like that?
Yeah, the quickest, that's what I read. Yeah, the quickest path to becoming a high value man. Yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. That sounds like advice.
Reads like advice.
That does sound like advice.
Reads like advice, sounds like advice, right? So him saying now it's not advice, like what is it then? And him he's super long winded and not really answering the question. He eventually kind of says it's to get the conversation started.
Right. I feel like his immediate take was backpedaling though. He was like, "Oh, I'm getting cooked. I'm getting cooked."
Yeah, that's exactly what they said, right? Immediate step was backpedaling. This is why you got to be careful with putting stuff on Twitter, because it is wild. Okay, so again, from his own words, this was not advice. The quickest path to become a high value man was not advice.
Well,
I mean, that's.
I was gonna say, and who is he to say what the quickest way to become a high value man is? He really thinks he's a high value man.
Right.
You know what? That brings up a very good question, Amanda. What is a high value man, right? So here he's giving, I don't know what you want to call it. He did say his advice. So whatever it is, the quickest path to become a high value man. Let's go now into what is a high value man, because let's go ahead and define that, right? Because you just mentioned it. Let's see what Rollo Tomassi has to say about being a high value man. This should be interesting.
Like first step one, you got to rock a ponytail.
And have that ugly little beard.
Wow. That's messed up.
That's
they were really roasting that beard in there. They said it looked like pubic hair.
I was looking at that. I'm not gonna lie, but so
hey, man, that's messed up to be talking about David's beard like that. Right?
Man,
what are you doing? Like, that's messed up. I got you, David.
Never,
I got you.
Never. But it's even better than that, Zach. What he feels like a high value man, even better than that. So let's go ahead and play that for you. This is like the crescendo of all this. Hold on.
Exactly. Great discussion.
Hey, look, boy, it's funny.
That's what he's saying.
He asked a question earlier. So you asked him a question, what is high value? You answered it. is whatever you determine that to be.
No, that's bullshit. None of you guys believe that. If some guy comes on this show, he weighs 350 pounds, and he says, I'm Diamond 1 in League of Legends. That's what I want to do with my life. You go, well, that's what you really want. You're high value. You wouldn't say that.
No, but once again, it starts in the mind. You're going to say, for example, oh, that's not true, which I agree it's not true. But ultimately, you as a man decide what's high value for you.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Value is probably something that's determined by society. High value means that you have a worth to other people. You're just talking about being comfortable, having high self-esteem.
I agree, but the tweet...
You don't say you agree with that. I just said the total opposite thing you just
No,
said.
I agree. And that point where, for example, people will determine you as high value. However, the tweet saying high value could mean, in your sense, whatever that means to you.
No, it doesn't.
What?
That's what he's saying.
No, he's not. He doesn't know because he doesn't have a good definition. Because he knows if he says anything, he's going to get
You
pinned
sound
down
like the
on it.
girls who believe they're a 10 because they describe themselves as a 10 in the mirror.
If you brought in
That's the
some
same
loser,
reason.
the point.
and he's like, I'm high value because I'm the manager at my McDonald's, you probably wouldn't agree that he's high value.
Is that when he says high value, you're going to determine that as a man, what does that mean for you? Success is a part of it, yes, but their success could be owning a farm or having a business. It doesn't matter. He's saying to get to that point, you need focus. Ultimately, that's what he's saying. Just be focused.
I mean, look, we
Eliminate
make fun of the girls
distractions.
all the time for saying that they're 10 out of 10s. All the time because they say it in their head, I believe I'm a 10 out of 10. No, that's ridiculous because society determines how attractive you are. Society determines how valuable you are. You can't apply that line. You can't make fun of the girl, the ugly fat whale who thinks she's a 10 girl boss queen, and then also say a high value man can believe it in his head.
Well, I gave you guys a 10.
You have a good definition. You talked about some shit, being relatively fit, having a network of people that are very social.
absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that sounds like
I do, because here's the thing. For me, I will define it because that will allow you guys to see where I'm coming from when I'm interpreting that.
Yeah, we know where you're coming from, but we have the tweet over here. He doesn't know where he's coming from.
Yeah,
We're a little lost right now. Trying to figure out, what he means. But
I think, again, the tweet, I think that's the important part of the tweet is that it allows people to interpret it how they want, and which is why we're talking about it right now. The tweet did what it was supposed to do.
Why would you? If I'm giving advice to people, I don't want them to interpret it how they want. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point of my message? If I'm telling
not giving advice to people. That's the whole point of this. Do you want? It's like impossible. It's impossible to put anything out there without people interpreting it as follow these steps. Here's your 12 rules for life, and you're going to live a happy
rules
life.
bring a high value man. That's literally what your tweet was. Do these things. High value. What is the wording of the tweet? Go back to the tweet itself.
So here's in that wording of the tweet. What's the last part of that? What's the last one? Resist easing up on your focus. Whatever's like. Do you want me to insert what you ought to be doing? You ought to be coding. Is that what I should say? Ought to be becoming a professional. I don't know what your fucking strengths are.
You can simplify and say work hard.
Again, so here's the thing. If I say, you know what, you ought to be an NBA player, and it doesn't matter if that you're 5'9", fucking stay on your focus, and you're going to be the best NBA player you can possibly be.
No, that'd be terrible advice.
That would be absolutely terrible advice because this is advice. That's why. Okay, this is a list that is meant to get so you get an idea of what the fuck it is that you're going to do so that you can become that high value man. Protect yourself. Don't get married. Avoid family creation.
Right.
That's like again.
I actually skipped the point. Let's go back because he didn't actually because you heard my they're kind of arguing like what is a high value man type of thing. Let's go back a little bit and go to where Rollo actually says out of his own mouth what he thinks a high value man is.
He's got to have 3 or 4 kids or 10 kids, depending on whatever culture you're talking about. All of this stuff that makes up whatever that person who happens to have that is, then that's suddenly the definition of what a high value man is. So what I'm saying this is the best way to become a high value man. I'm not saying this is the only way to become a high value man. I'm just saying that this is the fastest way to go and do something like that.
You've been talking a lot for 5 minutes. What is your definition of a high value man?
It doesn't matter. That's not what I was talking about in this.
It doesn't matter.
I know what you're talking about. That's what the first part of the tweet is: how to become a high value man.
The fastest way to become a high value man is to recognize the fact that you've got sacrifices to make. Okay.
So like what is that? Telling like stories from Vietnam. Like, just say what is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing.
Okay.
Man.
Okay. So.
This boy. Okay. Man, he really got invited to the cookout on this one.
Okay. Whew. So, a high value man is whatever you think it is, basically.
All right.
Whatever you think, whatever in your mind, it makes a high value man. That's never mind the fact that I just put out these 8 notes to become the quickest way to become a high value man. I don't know what that is though. The quickest way to become a high value man for you, like, what if that's not what I envision as being high value? Then it's not like,
Right.
oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you guys think? What's the definition of a high value? What do you guys think? Is that what it is? Whatever you think it is?
Man.
I mean, I feel like they were kind of right when they said it's what like society thinks it is. So like
Hmm.
what the majority of people would find high value in, that's what would be a high value man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I totally agree with that. It's just like it depends. I don't know, like, what does society think is high value? Like what's the attractive man? What's the like also what type of desire are you going for? What's your audience for your value first?
Yeah.
Determine that, like
Right.
who are you trying to be perceived as valuable to? Figure it out, and then you kind of can assess what socially high value is.
Right. I think Sneeko had a good point. I mean, it can't just be whatever you think in your mind because, like you said, if you're Diamond One in League of Legends, think, oh yeah, I'm high value now because I'm Diamond, like in a video
No.
game. No, and Sneeko had the because again, the whole thing. I think one characteristic. Let's talk about that of a high value man is consistency, being consistent in your work ethic, and in your logic. Not being hypothetical. All of these podcasts, all the majority of what they do on this podcast, definitely every episode, they have the girls rate themselves
Uh-huh.
basically on a scale from 1 to 10 and see where they are. Most of the girls will say 10. I think every girl's a 10. Every girl's a 10. Don't call them delusional. Basically, you're not a 10. Your value is attractiveness is set by the market, right? That it should have some like weight the other way around, basically. Like again, just because a dude thinks he can have the greatest toy train collection, like
Mhm.
girls don't necessarily like that. So you're not high value. Like it's got to be. It can't just be whatever you think it is. I don't know why he would say that out loud and thought that was the right answer.
Yeah.
Like he should have said, like, "Gotta take a second to think about this before I
Yeah.
reply," because that made no sense whatsoever. Based on what, and then it's one thing to just say it. And he's never said anything before. All their past history is basically like, no, this again, women, this is delusional, right? If women are saying that they're tens, they're not tens, they're fours or ones, whatever the case may be, that you tell them they're delusional and their value set by the market. You're a single mother, you're not as valuable as some 23-year-old who doesn't have any kids, and now all of a sudden a dude can be a high value man just because he thinks it. That's
Right.
not that's not consistent,
Nah.
right? I mean, I tell you, here, let's try this exercise. How about I want you guys to bring up, let's say, two things what you think a high value man is. Let's see how hard this is. What do you think, Zach? What do you think a high two aspects of a high value man?
Uh, I think a high value man should be financially stable, like can pay all of his bills, never worries about like paycheck to paycheck. So number one,
Okay.
financially stable, and number two, treats people with respect. Like the way you treat people should be, respectful. You should be, polite to people as well. So like to me, those are high value aspects of being a human being. Like you're successful in the economy and you're successful as a human
Mhm.
being.
Cool. That sounds great. What about you, Amanda? Can you think of two things off the top of your head? You're not even a man, but can you think of two things of a high value man?
Well, I mean, I would say what Zach said is right for some people.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What would
because
you think of? Can you think of
because
two different things then?
again, it's based on your audience. Because I
Hmm.
don't know if you remember on a previous podcast, I talked about that I know people that like the rough and tough guys. So they wouldn't necessarily find high value in somebody that respects everybody.
Yeah.
They would want somebody that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. So okay, so what do you consider to be a high value man? Let's get two.
well, I would say financially stable, able to take care of things, um, and considerate and respectful. I think those are along
Okay.
the same lines. Yeah.
Okay. Rick, how about you?
Financially stable and someone with ambition and determination.
Hmm.
Okay, that sounds good. I said consistency. I think integrity,
Yeah.
um, being honest, true to your word, type of thing. Yeah, all that was better than what Rolo said. All that. He could have said something as generic as that, because that's pretty generic, right? You think of something, okay, that's what it may get a little bit intricate in that, and I mean, having some of the things may be, again, like Zach said, have enough finance to take care of your bills. I mean, that can come in different facets. You live in New York, it's probably more expensive than living like in Idaho or something. As long as you good, you good. Your family's not hungry or anything like that. I mean, that could be a high value man too. Being able to take care of your wife and kids, and making sure they want for nothing, or they don't need anything. They're not out on the street or anything. That would be good. Him saying that it can be whatever you think it is, basically, like, is just, I don't know, fairy tale land.
Yeah.
And it's not. It doesn't really. If anybody's following him after this, I don't see how you rationalize it. Again, he writing that book, The Rational
Right.
Male. I don't see how you rationalize this. He literally, in this tweet, again, the quickest way to become a high value man, and then whatever you think it is a high value man is. He's also, in that podcast, he also said that he started naming people like Elon Musk is not a high value man.
Right.
How would you know? You can't even define it.
Yeah. So
What? Like,
no,
what?
I was gonna let you finish, but I was just thinking, like, I think he dances around it because for him, like, his audience is his livelihood. And so if he
Mm-hmm.
alienates any of his audience, he took his livelihood down a notch just by answering the question. And so he dances around it because he knows what he said and what he tweeted was a bit ignorant, and he doesn't want to alienate like part of his audience because all of a sudden his high value man, half his audience is not that, or half his audience doesn't believe that. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he just
Fair
didn't want
enough.
to kill his own gains.
I really don't like the grift, as they call it. Again, I'm sure part of what he's doing is
Hmm.
grifting, for the money type of thing. I mean, if he's making good money, I mean, I guess that's the reason to do it. But it's like you see a lot of these YouTube personalities, they aren't really like that. Basically, they'll feed you a story, or feed you a narrative, but then live a different thing. His whole, what I'm saying. He's married, by the way, like 30 years. I think his daughter's in college, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly. Don't ask me how I know that. But it's like you kind of fade a different narrative than what you live in yourself, for the most part. And it always seems, for most of these guys, most of these people on the internet, it's not just guys, there's a lot of women on there too, but most of these people on the internet seem to be fake in some aspect. Different parts of their lives are stretched. Some of them just kind of like completely just made out of thin air. And I just, it's just really frustrating just watching this stuff, and seeing some people follow him, and hold him in high regard. Yet he can't tell you what's in his heart. He can't tell you anything off his mind that he has with conviction. He's rattled by the blue haired dude, and so the other guy at 20, who's like 20. Sneako's like 24, 25. He's rattled. He can't have a conversation with these two
Uh,
people, um, because he made a mistake again. And that's the, hey, accountability. There's another one. Hey, you know what? I messed up. Let me go ahead and delete
yeah,
this, and just take care to repost it. It's a little bit different. That's not what I
yeah.
meant. You know what I'm
He could have
saying?
easily just been like, "Nah, I was
Uh,
off the henny. I don't know. Whatever happened happened."
I got
Yeah.
hacked. Excuse. Um, but this was just bad. I just wanted to get you guys' take on it. But so this is like the current state of the red pill. Some people are saying the red pill is done. I say it's probably for the best. Because if this type of news as leading men, we in
Oh
trouble.
yeah.
We in
Well,
trouble.
in his qualities or whatever, it did say not to have kids or anything, so
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't even take his own
You're
advice.
right.
it's dying
Never
off.
mind. Oh,
Man, cooked him.
all right. Fair enough. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. You like this episode, you like this content, please like, share, subscribe for We Tech Those podcasts. We're out. Thank you for
All
joining
right.
us.
Later.